Their incompetence has led to mountains of uncollected rubbish piling up on every street, so vast that it can be seen from satellites orbiting space. It is nothing short of a disgrace and a damning indictment of Labour's inability.
Have you ever seen a member of Parliament dismantle Keir Starmer so completely politically and personally that he couldn't lift his head, let alone respond? One MP landed blow after blow while Starmer stood there, stunned and silent, until the Speaker had to step in not to restore order, but to save what dignity Starmer had left. It began like any ordinary Prime Minister's questions, but when independent MP Amish Khan stood, the room shifted. This wasn't a polite disagreement, was a tick. Even Labour MPs looked away, as Khan exposed him line by line, lie by lie.
Mr. Speaker, this Labour government has failed the British public at every turn.
No build-up, no polite intro, just a verbal sledgehammer to Starmer's face, and every word was deserved. Starmer's Labour isn't failing, it's betraying. Cowardice, compromise, and corporate interests have replaced working-class values. A party that talks about change while bowing to the status quo. Starmer parades as a people's champion, but he's managing a brand, not leading a movement. The working class sees it. The stadium chants prove it, and now MPs are saying it too. His face.
Henry, I never ceased to be amazed at the way that politicians think that we're all absolutely and utterly stupid, to the point where they do these little videos to make out like, oh, we're so friendly and we know so many local people that we're going to go and prove ourselves to be very, very friendly with them, and they're going to love us. I mean, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, you feel a bit sorry for them, to be honest. Back 100 years ago, before the invention of moving pictures, they could just be their sort of odd, slightly aristocratic selves,
yes, and
nobody really minded, and they addressed people from a stage. But now we live in an age when people expect that kind of not intimacy necessarily, but they expect people to be making that sort of connection. But at the same time, because cameras are everywhere now, because anything can be tweeted or filmed and put on the internet, they have to stage manage it to within an inch of their lives because, in fairness, how do the media treat a gaffe, right? If you have a politician who actually meets a voter in an uncontrolled context,
yes,
their poor spads are tearing their hair out.
Starmer doesn't lead. He manages Britain's slow decline under the illusion of statesmanship. In Parliament, one MP cut through the act, calling him what he is, a manager of decay, not a leader of change.
They have abandoned the WASPy women, leaving them without compensation they deserve. They have turned their backs on pensioners by failing to support the...
Starmer talks endlessly about fairness, wearing the word like a badge. But when it's time to act, he falls silent.
The WASPy women fought one of the most sustained and passionate campaigns for justice that I can remember, year in, year out. We did promise them that we would give them justice. I understand the issue about the cost, but does the Prime Minister really understand how let down WASPy women feel?
The WASPy women trusted the system and Starmer only to be met with hollow promises. When it mattered, he left them behind. This wasn't just bad politics, it was a moral failure. The MP refused to let it slide, and even Labour MPs turned on their own government, exposing the scale of this betrayal.
I do understand the concern, of course I do. I set out the history, Mr. Speaker, but the research is clear that 90% of those impacted did know about the change. And in those circumstances, the taxpayer simply can't afford the burden of tens of billions of pounds of compensation. But I do.
Where's Starmer? Hiding behind focus groups, rehearsing robotic speeches about hard choices. While people suffer, he manages optics. This isn't leadership, it's empty political theatre.
Well, I think it's fair to say, Ali, it was a combination of being shocked, stunned, angry, and in no small measure disappointed.
You say you're disappointed. I mean, you've been an MP for, a few months. Mm-hmm. Did you expect to be on TV saying that you're disappointed with the government this quickly?
Certainly not. Yesterday's decision, as much as it was a shock, it's completely wrong. This is a historical injustice that WASPy women have faced. We campaigned in opposition to correct that injustice, and now that we're in power, we really should...
Starmer punished pensioners, and when given the chance to apologise, he said nothing.
His decision, and his decision alone, to award a train driver on £65,000 a pay rise of almost £10,000. And it was also his decision that a pensioner living on just £13,000 will have their winter fuel allowance removed. So can the Prime Minister explain to Britain's low-income pensioners why he has taken money away from them whilst at the same time given more money to highly...
Starmer knows this policy drives children into poverty. He knows it's morally wrong, yet he clings to it to appear tough and electable for right-wing media. This isn't leadership, it's cowardice dressed as strategy.
I remind him that we inherited absolute chaos from the party opposite. We lost an average of 3 million working days a year to strikes under his watch. And you cannot fix the economy if the trains don't work, and you can't fix the economy if the NHS isn't working. And when it comes to winter fuel payments, they're having a competition, as I understand. They're going to be voting later on today. Well, his shadow housing minister, we found this. She's the favourite, I think. Some of them will be probably voting for her this afternoon. She said, her words, I have people in my constituency telling me they don't need winter fuel payments. Why do we not have a more sophisticated mechanism for mean testing? That's the favourite, I think, in the contest. That
£22 billion of money is a huge amount to find in a year.
Yeah.
But by leaving it, not doing it, in my view, we ran the risk of losing control of the economy. And if there's one thing which, in my view, has hit pensioners harder than anything in the last few years, it's when inflation went through the roof,
right,
because the last government lost control of the economy. I'm not going to let that happen to pensioners ever again.
I want to introduce you to Chrissy. She's a pensioner who's a regular viewer of Good Morning Britain. She has got in touch with us. She was an NHS nurse for 25 years. She's on the full state pension, which puts her just a few pounds over the threshold for pension credit. Yep. She's about to lose her winter fuel allowance. She has arthritis. She estimates her fuel bills are about to go up by £40 a month this winter, and she is dreading it because she does not feel she's going to be able to put the heating on. She voted for you, but she feels let down. Would you like to take this opportunity to say sorry to pensioners like Chrissy?
Well, I am really concerned that we've been put in this position. Mm-hmm. When you inherit an economy with £22 billion missing, it is a really difficult set of choices.
He's so afraid of offending right-wing pundits that he'll sacrifice children for optics. Labour once defended the vulnerable, now it punishes them. This MP said it plainly, then exposed Starmer's £5 billion benefit cuts hitting the poorest families hardest. Not tough, just cruel.
They have let down children by keeping a two-child benefit cap in place, and they will inflict further hardship on the most vulnerable by slashing £5 billion.
Starmer's message was clear. Disabled people relying on welfare won't get it. No spinjas, cold policy. He's taken the Tory playbook and gone further. These aren't efficiency savings, they're lives. Disabled people, single parents, low-income families, all sacrificed to impress donors and the press. That's not leadership, it's betrayal.
And that's why we're having a row at the moment about tough choices. Yep. Because we need the stability in our economy is absolutely vital as a stepping stone to getting onto those missions.
So when people say, look, you should be making all these spending commitments and...
Well, my first reaction, we keep saying collectively as a party, we've got to take tough decisions. And in the abstract, everyone says, that's right, Keir. And then we get a tough decision. We've been in one of those for the last few days saying, well, don't like that. Can we just not make that one? I'm sure there's another tough decision somewhere else that we can make. But we have to take the tough decisions. And this isn't some sort of reflection on some focus group that says, we'd like Labour to have an economic straitjacket on. It's the fundamentals. Liz Truss was very different to others. She proved the thesis that if you make unfunded commitments, then the economy is damaged and working people pay the price.
Right, and that could be tax or spending, right?
That could be tax. For her, it was unfunded tax cuts, but it could be unfunded spending. So if you want proof that unfunded commitments cause economic damage, which is then, visited on working people, you've got to...
Labour MPs shouted not because the MP was wrong, but because he was right. He brought up Birmingham, a city once full of potential, now bankrupt under Labour. Years of reckless spending and arrogance ruined it, and Starmer. He wants to run the country when his party can't even run a city. Birmingham became the warning. If Labour can destroy it, what will they do to the UK?
And will he also today calm anxieties that he himself has raised for many of us, that the disability benefits for people who simply cannot work will not be cut?
Mr. Speaker, we will, of course, as I've just said, the principles, we will, of course, support those who need support, but also help those who can work into work. They'll be the guiding principles. But what we've inherited is shocking, and they ought to be silent. 1 in 8 young people not in education, work or training. That is a lost generation. That is their inheritance. They've got plenty to say now. They did nothing for 14 years and left this in...
Under Labour, Birmingham collapsed, services crumbled, finances wrecked, accountability gone. Starmer hides behind PR and soundbites, but it's his party, his leadership, and his failure. No spin changes that.
Benefits, but perhaps the most immediate and visible failure, one that poses an immediate and direct health risk to the people of Birmingham, is the appalling financial mismanagement of Labour-run Birmingham City Council. After more than a decade of Labour control, their incompetence has led to mountains of uncollected rubbish piling up on every street, so vast that it can be seen from satellites orbiting space.
The MP's takedown was so relentless, the Speaker stepped in not to restore order, but to give Starmer a lifeline. But the damage was done. Scripted talking points couldn't hide the truth. Starmer isn't fit to govern not cities, not councils, not the country.
Birmingham is officially broke. The City Council, the largest local authority in Europe, is effectively bankrupt. Services for more than 1.1 million people are now under threat, and the Labour leadership under pressure to explain and apologise.
For anybody who's suffering across the city, you know, anything that impacts and that the council has done wrong, we'll hold up our hands and we will say sorry for. We've seen local government being cut. We've had the council itself has lost over £1 billion worth of funding as a result of consecutive Conservative governments. This has been ongoing. It's
Nothing short of a disgrace and a damning indictment of Labour's inability to govern. Will the Prime Minister take urgent action to protect the public health and the people of Birmingham by immediately deploying the...
Order. We're meant to ask a quick question, otherwise...
Pathetic. While accused of abandoning children, pensioners, women, and whole cities, Starmer replies with recycled statistics and hollow boasts many copied from Sunak. His plans are watered down and delayed. He deflects because there's nothing left, no vision, no backbone, no soul. Do you agree with the MP that Starmer's leadership is a disgrace? Should he face this kind of accountability daily? Share your thoughts below, and if you want more raw, unfiltered coverage of British politics, like, share, and subscribe. Change is coming, and we'll be watching.